When Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to see God, Hashem said, Lo yireni ha'adam v'chai. Man cannot see me and remain alive. The throne on which the prophet saw the image of Adam that's sitting on the throne that the animals of the Merkava are carrying, they only see as hakavod. They don't see the glory of that man that wills on the chair in a manner of Re'iyas HaMahus. Holy animals, angels of the Merkava, which are the source of our vital energy, only know godliness in a manner of Yedias HaMetzius, knowing that it is, but not Yedias HaMahus, not knowing what it is. Today is Tes Kislev, and we already were learning together last night, and we were discussing the quality of this special day of Tes Kislev, the birth and the Yortzeit of the Mittler Rebbe, that came to this world in a miraculous way, and left this world in a miraculous way, and left a miraculous impression in this world. As said last night, the Alter Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe was the first son of the Alter Rebbe, but he had daughters before, 2 daughters, and didn't have sons, and he asked his Rebbe, the Maggid, for a bracha for a son, and the Maggid did not respond, and that took some years. And it was a year before the Istalkus of the Maggid that he called the Alter Rebbe in and said to him what I mentioned yesterday, Bamei zakeh nar es orcho. This is a pasuk from Kuf Yutes in Tehillim. So Bamei zakeh nar, Bamei yizkeh lenar, in what a person can be zocher to a baby boy, es orcho, to do achnasas orchim. You do achnasas orchim, and you will have a ben zachar, and don't forget me when you name him. It means the Maggid wanted the Mittler Rebbe to be called after him. And Take, Tes Kislev, the next year, the Maggid called the Alter Rebbe Yutes Kislev, which became the Yortzeit of the Maggid as well. So next year, Tes Kislev, 10 days before, the Mittler Rebbe was born. What can we say about the Mittler Rebbe? The Mittler Rebbe was like not from this world. As I mentioned, that his neshama was neshama from Alma Diskasya. This Reb Himnuna that we mentioned, that the Alter Rebbe had a hava mina to call the Mittler Rebbe Himnuna. Nuna means also secret, but Himnuna has its in this name Nuna, Nunim, Nune Yama, the creatures, the fish of the Yam, of the ocean. And that represents secrets, that which is hidden under the water. This Rebbe Nuna is a very mysterious person. There are different opinions who he was, and it looks like that there were more than one, and the famous one is Rebbe Himnuna Sava. Rebbe Himnuna Sava was around the second generation of Tanaim after the destruction. And there was also Rebbe Himnuna in Amoira, in the time of the Gemara. So there were a few of them, but this famous Rebbe Himnuna was known for being a master of the secrets of the Torah. He had a mysterious son as well, who is called in the Zohar the Yanuka, the little child, He was a holy child. It's time of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai and Reb Elazar, his son. That's when he lived. Rabbi Ibnuna, he was their teacher. So the neshama of the Mittler Rebbe was a neshama from Alma Diskasia, from living. It's like a creature of the ocean that lives constantly within its source of life, within the water that permeates it all. So too, the Mittler Rebbe was immersed in Hasidus, and the previous Rebbe said that no one from all the Rebbeim, no one gave so much Hasidus to their Hasidim from all the Rebbeim as the Mittler Rebbe. Hours of saying Hasidus, which wasn't easy for him. He wasn't well from childhood. He had lungs problems. And it's because of which the doctors told him at the end, towards his passing, not to speak, because it was too much strain on his lungs. So if the Mittler Rebbe couldn't speak Hasidus, what's the point? So he was just in coma. He was lying there for a week, for more than, it was before that, a week. The last week, actually, one said to the doctor, you want to see something interesting? So the doctor said, what? Because the Mittler Rebbe was in coma. It wasn't communicating. And as I said before, remind me to come back to the story of his passing. A reason that was shared for the Mittler Rebbe to leave the world, which he did in the early age of 54, was that his father came to him twice in a vision and told him about the Gzera of the Kantonistin, that there will be young children taken by the Russian army, taken away from Yiddishkeit, taken away from home, and be trained as soldiers. And that was a decree that the Mittler Rebbe could not, when he envisioned that, he could not handle it. And he said that he has to leave this work for his son-in-law, the Tzemach Tzedek. And shortly after, he passed away. In the last week, when that Hasid told the doctor that he wants to show him something, when the Mittler Rebbe was in coma, he bent down and whispered to the Mittler Rebbe that he's allowed the doctors consulted between themselves and decided that he is allowed to say Hasidus. So immediately the Mittler Rebbe woke up, sat up, and said Hasidus for the last almost a week. It was miraculous, and he passed away like the Rashbi saying, "Be'orcha nir'ech האור, כי עמך מקור חיים. באורך נראה אור. כי עמך מקור חיים, with you is the source of life. And in the word, when he said the word Chaim, he became quiet. And they thought that he was just reflecting, but the neshama left the body at that point. And that was the same way of this, similar to the Istalkus of the Rashbi that also passed away saying the word Chaim when his Talmidim were around him, and the Rebbeim were, how shall I say, pointing out how special this type of passing of tzaddikim is when they are surrounded by their close followers and sharing the secrets of Torah, and their passing was like we learn about the passing of Moshe and Aaron, Mitas Neshikin. You know, passing was just a neshama rising to unite with the Elokus, with godliness. And the passing was so miraculous. So hours and hours of Hasidus. And he lifted his Hasidim to live in a spirit of Geula already. That's another miracle, that it's not just about himself, because he was really a great neshama, that I don't know if any of us can really contain the light of this neshama. And he said so generously gave from himself, as I said, hours and hours and hours, and it wasn't easy for him to speak. But the fact that he raised his Hasidim for such a level of consciousness, that their consciousness became divine consciousness. That is a miracle that he did with his followers. And relatively in a short time, he was a Rebbe for 15 years, practically maybe 13 years. And we have books, many books from him. At the time that books were very expensive. His generation was poor. The Hasidim were so poor that they had to divide. They couldn't get a whole book. They got pamphlets with pieces and pieces, and they were sharing between themselves. They were so poor they didn't have the whole thing. But their consciousness was Chabad of Atzilus. I don't know, this is my expression, so don't quote it as the Rebbeim, but definitely Chabad of the divine. So this Yom Bahir, this special day, holy day, should be an inspiration and a sinas koyach for us to encourage ourselves to practice more the swimming in the ocean of the divine light of Hasidus, and to internalize it as the Mittler Rebbe wished, that when Hasidim meet, the meeting should be one way or another about discussing the different aspects of unification with Hashem. And Zchuso Yagen Aleinu. And it should be a good better for the Geula Amitis V'Ashleima Tekef Biad Mamash now. Anyone wants to say anything else? To the safety and protection of our soldiers that are protecting our holy land, for the refuah of all the sick and the wounded, and the release of the captured in a way that wouldn't decrease our power to destroy Hamas completely, and there should be a complete victory, an immediate one, and as part of the unfolding of the Geula Amitis V'Ashleima Tekef Biad Mamash now. We are in the new edition on page Kuf Samach Tes. The old edition is Kuf Chaf, towards the end of Kuf Chaf Zayin, I would say. So it's a new Maimar, Parashas Vayechi, Tafresh Samech Vov. I thought last time to do a Chazara. I decided to wait till after this Maimar, because this Maimar still, I mean, it's a hemshech, so one follows the other, but it's still a hemshech to our discussion about this is oerus that enables us to get into the mode of avoida, and the fact that it doesn't replace the avoida that has to follow it. And this is still a continuation of this discussion, so I decided to get straight into this Maimar, and perhaps after this Maimar to do the Chazara, Bezrat Hashem. All right. Yehudah, ata Yoducha Achecha, yadcha be'oref oivecha. Yehudah, your brothers will acknowledge or thank you, and yadcha be'oref oivecha, your hand will seize the neck of your enemies. Will reach the back of the neck of your enemies. וצריך להבין, דלכאורה, תיבס אתה מיוסר. What does it mean, Yehudah? אתה Yoducha Achecha. You can say, Yehudah Yoducha Achecha. Yehudah, comma. You turn to Yehudah and you say, your brothers will thank you. What does it mean, Yehudah? You, Yoducha Achecha. You, your brothers will thank you. What's the אתה? והוצרח לו לומר, יהודה יודוך אחיך. The Torah doesn't waste words. And also grammatically, what does it mean? Yehudah ata יודוך אחיך. It's not common to use such an expression. Or you can say, oscha יודוך אחיך. Maybe oscha יודו אחיך. You, oscha, is the one your brothers will thank. Okay, then you can use it like that. But what is ata? Mao Yehuda ata? This is one thing. גם צריך להבין, also we have to understand. הלא ראובן, שמעון ולוי גבוהים במדרגה מיהודה. Reuven, we know that על פי Hasidus, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi are higher than Yehuda. Why? Because the Reuven ושמעון ידוע שאין חסד וגבורה, או חוכמה ובינה. Regarding Reuven and Shimon, it's known that they are chesed or gvura, or chokhmah and bina. How so? The Reuven al shem ki ra'a havaye, Shimon al shem ki shama havaye. Reuven is called Reuven because ra'a havaye, that Hashem saw. Hashem saw the call of, and heard the call of Leah. Shimon al shem ki shama havaye. So Leah calls her son Shimon, the other child Shimon, because Hashem listened to my prayers. So Reuven is the end of Re'iyah, seeing, which is associated with Chokhmah, and Shimon is the inyan of Shmiya, the inyan of hearing, which is associated with Bina. Shehem, Chokhmah, Ubina, Hub. What is Levi? So this is Shimon, Reuven and Shimon, Chokhmah and Bina. What is Levi? ולוי מלשון הפעם ילווה אישי אליי, חולו. That Leah said, this time with having Levi, now my man will be attached to me. ילווה מלשון escort, מלשון to go with me, attach himself to me. שהוא בחינס דעס המחבר. Levi is the inyan of das, hamechaber, that connects one with his mind, which means also the das, the mechaber, chokhmah and bina, and the das that mechaber, the moichin with the midos. So Levi is the inyan of the das that connects chokhmah to bina, connects the mind to the emotions, connects the person to the concept that he is engaged in. Yehudah, so that's Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Chokhmah, Bina, Das. Now comes Yehudah, that all of the other brothers are thanking him in this pasuk. Yehudah, ata yoducha achecha. Yehudah hu bchinas malchus. Yehudah is malchus. Yehudah is also the house of Malchus. So, kmochen ba'avoida. So, this is also so in avoida, in the service of Hashem. Reuven, hu bchinas leistakla bi'ikara de malka. Reuven represents the looking at or the gazing at the preciousness and the light of the king. Is when the neshama is gazing at the glory of the king. Shehi ha'ava shal yedei b'chinas re'iyah. It is the ava that is associated with the ability of the soul to look and see Elokus. V'Shimon hu b'chinas yira. So Reuven is the Inan that in Avodas Hashem will be Avas Hashem, and Shimon is Bchinas Yira. Hashem Shamati Shimacha Yaresi. It is from Habakkuk. I heard about you and I became fearful. So the Inyan of Shmiya is associated with Yira. So Ava, which is also Chesed, is under Chochmah, and the Yira, which is under Bina, which is Gvura. Levi is Bchinas Hiskashrus. Levi is Hiskashrus, what you are committed, you are really personally connecting yourself, attaching yourself to. The Yehudah hu bchinas hoda levad. However, Yehudah is only an acknowledgement, is only an admitting. Ve'im ken, and thanking. Harei hem gvuim b'madrega mimeno. Yehudah is just acknowledging, is just admitting. Yehudah is Ian of Malchus, Kabbalah's all. Reuven and Shimon and Levi are Riyas Elokus, Avas Hashem, is the Inyan of Yiras Hashem. The Yira that comes along with Bina, with understanding what Hashem means to us, that leads to the birth of the emotion of Yiras Hashem, and all the way to Yira Ilah, that comes from a complete sense of bitul, understanding what are we in vis-a-vis Hashem himself. So these are higher experiences, human experiences, and therefore way higher than Yehudah. Yehudah is just Kabbalah's all. Yehudah is not seeing, not hearing, just acknowledging and serving. Malchus. Carrying out. Umipnei ma Yoducha Achecha. How come your brothers, which are higher than you, Yehudah, that means Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, will acknowledge and will thank you, will look up to you. Vegam mahu inyan yadcha be'oref oivecha. So first question was, what is Yehudah Ata? Second is, why Yehudah is the main one that all the other brothers are thanking and acknowledging, when we know that Malchus is lower than Ava and Yira, or Chochmah, Bina, and Das. So that's the third question. The fourth question is, what is Be'oref Oivecha? What does it mean that your hand reaches the back of the neck of your enemies, the Oref, the back of the head? ולהבין זה צריך להקדים מה שנסבאר לאל. To understand this, we have to first preface what was explained in our previous Maimar of Vayigash. דהרצו שבנשמה הוא על ידי כוח עליון דהארס לובן העליון. That the haratza of the neshama, the coming about of the desire of the neshama to expire, to leave the keli, and to merge and to be subsumed in the Elyon, in the Elokus, in godliness, initially it comes about through a higher power, a divine power, which is called the radiance of the divine whiteness, which means keser, as we learned in the last Maimar, which is represented by the color white. No specific form yet, no specific color. That means that it's the ha'ara from Or and Sof. So there is an Isoyerus that is called Loven Ha'elyon, the supreme divine whiteness, שמעורר את הנשמה לאהבה אסהבה יכולו, that awakens the neshama to love Hashem, with a love to Hashem, to Abai. ומכל מקום, nevertheless we learned that even though the awakening is done by this love העליון, עצם הרצוי הוא בכוח עצמו והגיעסו דווקא. We learned that the whole move, תנועה of רצוי itself, how the person wants to elevate himself, to refine himself, and to bring himself closer to Elokus, has to be done בכוח עצמו, and is done with his own power, והגיעסו דווקא, and his own toil. Like being woken up by someone in the morning, it doesn't mean that that waking up is responsible for everything you do after you were woken up. That is already your choice. But you wouldn't be able to do anything if you were not woken up. If you were not woken up. And so to here. And therefore, והכוח עליון הוא רק בבחינת איסאורוס לבד. This divine כוח is only an awakening. אבל צריך להגיע את עצמו להיות בבחינת רצון. But one has to toil and invest efforts to remain in a manner of ratzon, to constantly want to and desire and motivate oneself to go higher and higher and to refine himself more and more and to refine his midos and to refine his mind and to come closer and closer from Gashmius to Ruchnius, from the mundane to the divine. And that requires constant awareness and effort. ונסבאר, והסעוררוס עצמה אינו עבודה כלל. And we learned, and it was explained, that the awakening itself is not an avoida. ואינו דומה, and then the Rebbe also taught us that it's not similar, it's not identical to the Ava Rabba, the Aaron, to the great love that Aaron draws into our neshama, שבא גם כן מלמעלה, that also comes from above, שהיא עצמה avoida. So here we need to understand more, even though we already learned, that his was from Lovena Elyon, this awakening from the divine whiteness does not come instead of avoida. However, the awakening of Aaron by drawing Ava Rabba and awakening our neshama with Ava Rabba to Elokus, ki atzma avoida. It is avoida. It is part of the avoida. How so? We still will need to understand it. אבל האיסאורus היא עצמה אינה avoida. But the awakening of Loven העליון is not avoida. והavoida היא בכוח עצמו דווקא. And the Rebbe will go now through a series of Maimarim that will lead to a famous discussion of Samech Vov that anyone who learns Samech Vov knows about it, the avoida of Eved versus Ben and Eved, like we serve Hashem like banim, like children of Hashem, and like servants of Hashem, and so on and so forth. The Rebbe will dive into the topic of the divine service and how to view it and how to perform it and what attitudes to have. But the main thing is בכוח עצמו. והנה now, לכאורה צריך להבין, seemingly we still need to understand, מאחר דבחינת סיסאורוס ובחינת אבה רבא דארון, שניהם נמשכים מבחינת עצמוס אור אין סוף. Really, what's the difference between this daily awakening by Loven העליון that comes from Or and Sof, and is only awakening and it doesn't come instead of the avoida? If we don't do avoida, if we don't do yegia, it goes away. What's the difference between that and the awakening, the hashpah of Aaron, the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, who is mashpia Ava Rabba and awakens the neshama with Ava Rabba? How come that is not called just an awakening? That is part of the avoida. How come? What's the difference? because both of them come from Asmus Or Ein Sof. We learned that the awakening Loven Ha'elyon is Or Ein Sof. That's why it's white. It's infinite. No form yet, formless, no colors. Loven, Lavan, Keser. And we learned that Aaron was Mamshich also from Atzmus Or Ein Sof. We said Pnei HaMenorah, if you remember. Facing the menorah, facing Atzmus Or Ein Sof. So if both of them, the B'chinas Loven Ha'elyon, Zeu B'chinas Atzmus Or Ein Sof, the whiteness is the Atzmus Or Ein Sof. Just as the Pnei HaMenorah that Aaron was lighting is Atzmus Or Ein Sof. What's the difference? ובפרט לפי מה שנסבאר לאל, דהאיסאורוס היא גם כן מהדלקת הנרוס דאהרון כהנא רבא. And especially what we learn, that this is Eorus comes from the Hadlakas Haneros of Aaron the high priest, שזהו עניין הערכה וההדלקה, as we learned last time, that this is the עניין of יערוך את הנרוס and ידליק את הנרוס, להדליק, הדלקת הנרוס. יש לערוך, יערוך אותו אהרון. What does it mean לערוך? To set up. זהו מה שנושן כוח על האבוידה פנימיוס דמוח ולב. Is how Aaron gives us the koyach to perform avoida pnimis. La'aroch means to arrange something in an orderly fashion, meaning to work with all 10 koychas hanefesh in an orderly fashion, that our Chabad should be reflecting the Chabad of the divine, and our midos should be reflecting the midos of the divine. Avoida pnimis, of moach velev, refining our mind and refining our heart, our emotions, our personal attributes. That's Yaroch, La'aroch. And מה שכתוב בעלוס אהרון, להעלוס, to bring up, to light up the candles, הוא בחינס אהבה רבה. That's אהבה רבה. ואם כן, so if this is so, that Sai, they awakening by Lavan Ha'elyon, and Sai, Adlakas HaNeros of Aaron, come from the Ein Sof, אם כן מאחר ששניהם נמשכים מבחינת עצמוס אור אין סוף, since both of them are coming from עצמוס אור אין סוף, למה הארס לובן העליון היא בבחינת איסאורוס לבד? How come the radiance, the light that comes from the Loven Ha'elyon, from the divine whiteness, is only called an Isoros, an awakening, that's all. והמשחה דאהרון, next page, היא avoida mamash. However, the המשחה from Aaron, what comes from Aaron, is not just an awakening, it's mamash avoida, it's matter of the service itself. ואדרבה, and even more so, we're on page Kuf Ayin, avoida na'ales biyoser, a very high avoida. What's the difference? העניין הוא, the idea is, דאגם דהכל הוא מה שנמשך מבחינת עצמוס אור אין סוף, מכל מקום יש חילוק באופן ההמשכה. Even though everything, Sai the awakening of Loven Ha'elyon, and Sai the awakening of Ava Rabbah of Aaron HaKohen, both of them come from Or Ein Sof itself, nevertheless, there is a difference in the way they come down. And now the Rebbe will explain. והעניין הוא, דהנה ידוע, והאור האלוקי הנמשך בעולם בבחינס גילוי, היינו בבחינס איסלבשוס, הוא בחינס הערה חיצוניס והערה מצומצמס לבד. Now it's known that the divine light that is drawn into the world in a revealed way. What does it mean, revealed way? Hainu b'vchinas islabshus, meaning that it invests itself, that is the light of Hashem, that is the divine light that is invested in the world, which means begilui, that is revealed. היא בחינת הער החיצוניס והער המצומצמת לבד. The way Hashem gives chayos to the world is only an external radiance and a very limited ray from Or Ein Sof, from Elokus, from godliness. הנה עצמוס Or Ein Sof אינו בערך העולמות כלל. Or Ein Sof itself is not at all comparable to the worlds. It's only a ray, only a very external, metzumtzam aspect of Or Ein Sof that is invested in the world to create and animate it. וכאשר האיר בגילוי בחינת העצמוס דאור אין סוף, when Or Ein Sof itself was shining בגילוי, לא היה אפשר להיות עיסאוווס העולמות כלל. It wasn't possible for worlds to be created at all. והיה צריך להיות הצמצום. Therefore, the tzimtzum needed to be. Because as long as Or Ein Sof, in its authentic way, is revealed, no room for worlds at all, because it's not comparable. There's no erech at all. So in order for worlds to come about and have any significance, there had to be a tzimtzum. שהוא בחינת סילוק האור והגילוי לגמרי. The tzimtzum meant the removal of the light and its revelation completely, which means that the light is not revealed anymore. ונמשך אחר כך המשך הסקו. And following that, the curve was drawn. שהוא בחינת הער החיצוניס לבד. This curve is only an external הערה from the original Or Ein Sof. והגם דשורש המשכסו הוא מאור אין סוף שלפני הצמצום. And even though the root of the curve, where it originates, is from the same Or Ein Sof that is before the tzimtzum, מכל מקום הרי הוא נמשך על ידי הצמצום. Nevertheless, the only way the curve can come about is through the tzimtzum. שהוא בחינת הער החיצוניוס מצומצמת. That means it's only a superficial, an external, and a very limited radiance and a ray, שבאין ארוך כלל לגבי האור אין סוף שלפני הצמצום כולו. That is totally incomparable to Or Ein Sof the way it is before the tzimtzum. ועל ידי בחינה זו נעשה היסבוס העולמות. And through this curve, through this limited radiance from the original light, now comes the creation of the world. וזהו המסלבש בעולמות להחיוסן. And this is what is invested in the worlds to animate them. We all feel that we are alive, that we are animated. Whether we feel that we are animated by Elokus or not, it depends what world we are in. In our world, not. But we feel that we are alive. שזהו בחינת הער החיצוניוס לבד. But this life force that creates and animates the world is only הער החיצוניוס. It's only a superficial, external aspect of Or Ein Sof. וגם, also, now if you look at the relationship between the curve and the worlds, בחינת עצמיוס הקו, the curve itself, הוא המסלבש בעולמות האין סוף שלמעלה מאצילוס. The curve itself is really only really mislabesh. Mislabesh means it's begilui. It's invested, it's enclosed. It's all is really invested only in the oilamos ha'en sof, in the worlds of infinity shelemala me'atzilus, higher than atzilus, like olam hatohu, which is nekudim, and akudim, keser, atik, all this Okay, there you can say that the Kav itself is mislabesh in these worlds, the worlds of infinity. Aval be'olam ha'atzilus, however, in the world of Atzilus, me'ir rak he'aras ha'kav levad. It's not the Kav itself that shines in Atzilus anymore, it's only he'ara, only her radiance from the Kav. Ve'ara zo, and this light from the Kav that does shine in Atzilus, it's not the Kav itself anymore, it's a radiance from the Kav. Mistayemes b'malchus de Atzilus, ends in Malchus of Atzilus. What happens under Atzilus? What happens in Biyah? Bria Yetzira and Nasiya. ובעולמוס ביאה אינו מאיר מבחינת הארס הקו גם כן. In עולמוס ביאה, בריאה יצירה ונסייה, the created worlds, even the aras הקו is not shining anymore. כי אם רק מבחינת המציאוס דאלוקוס. What remains revealed in Biyah, in Bria, Yetzira, and Nasiya, just the awareness of the existence of Elokus, but not anymore the experience of Elokus. So we have three. First of all, we have the Kav is only only a limited light from the original Or Ein Sof. Yet it originates in Or Ein Sof. Then this Kav itself is invested and revealed in Oilamos Ha'Ein Sof, which means higher than Atzilus. Then in Atzilus, it's not the Kav itself, it's only the light, the radiance from the Kav that is still shining in Atzilus and enables the spheres to still be divinity. What about under? So that's the second level. And then there was the third, lowest level, which is Olamos Biyah, Bria, Yetzira, and Nasiya, that there even the radiance from the Kav is not anymore revealed. We only have the Metzius. How does he call it? Meir, where am I? Ki im rak b'chinas hametzius de'elokus. What shines in Biyah is only the awareness of the existence of Elokus, but not its experience anymore, what it is. So again, the Be'atzilus me'ir al kol panim mahus haziv. In Atzilus, at least the ziv, which means that aspect from the light of the Kav that shines in Atzilus, it's in Atzilus still you have the mahus of the ziv. You have the mahus, the light of the Kav itself, in Atzilus. ואם היוסו בחינה זיו והערה לבד, מכל מקום מאיר שם מהוס הזיו והערה. Even though in Atzilus, only the ziv, you have the two terms or and ziv. Or is the light itself. Ziv is the aspect of the light that is revealed to the recipient, to the Mekabel. Again, Ziv in Kabbalah and Hasidus is the aspect of the light that is perceived by the recipient, by the Mekabel. That is always like the external aspect of the light. That's the Ziv, and also called He'ara, a radiance from the light. So, in Olamos Ha'Ein Sof shines the Kav itself. In Atzilus shines only He'ara, only a Ziv from the light of the Kav. But it's still Mahus Haziv Ve'Ha'ara. It's still the Ziv, the light, the shine, the radiance itself that shines in Atzilus. Delemala me'Atzilus me'ir Mahus Ha'atzmus. Higher than Atzilus, what shines is the Atzmus itself. Atzmus Or Ein Sof It means the atmos of the Kav itself, or itself itself. In the Atzilus, what shines and what's revealed? Mahus Aziv. Only the aspect of Or and Sof that is external, which is the Ziv, but it's still Mahus Aziv. Is the radiance from Or and Sof, from the Kav. וכידוע דבאור יש בחינס עצם האור ובחינס הספשטוס האור. That Or has the Or itself, עצם האור, and has the הספשטוס האור. שהוא בחינס זיו וערב לבד. The הספשטוס האור, the manifestation, the spreading of the light, is only the ziv and the ara of the light alone, only. כמו כן, really sometimes in Hasidus, you see that if you focus on light itself, it has, you can either say that it has two inyanim or three inyanim, two aspects or three aspects. Here the Rebbe points out two aspects. It depends how you divide, how far you want to divide it. Here the Rebbe is differentiating between the light itself in relation to itself and the light in relation to the other, to a recipient. That is the ziv. That is the ha'ara. Sometimes you can see that in Sha'ar HaYichud, for instance, we learn to divide it to three. There is the or itself, there is the etzem ha'or, the way the or is connected to the ma'or, to its source, and there is the ziv, which is the way the or is relating to a recipient. Here the Rebbe is dividing it to two. There is the or itself, etzem ha'or, and the or in relation to itself, and there is the spashtus ha'or, the or, the way it manifests, the way it is in relation to someone else. Again, כידוע באור יש בחינס עצם האור ובחינס הספשטוס האור. In or there is the or itself, and the הספשטוס, the manifestation of light. שהוא בחינס זיו וערה לבד. The הספשטוס is only הערה, and זיו. כמו כן בבחינס הקו. So too regarding the קו, יש בו בחינס עצם והספשטוס. Also has the עצם, the קו in relation to itself, and Ispashtus, the kav in relation to worlds, to the manifestation of it. The bchinas etzem or kav meir lemala me'atzilus. So now, etzem or kav lemala me'atzilus still shines. It means that lemala me'atzilus, higher than atzilus, the worlds are one with the or of the kav itself. That's higher than Atzilus. Vehu b'chinas mahus ha'etzem. That is the mahus of the kav itself. Uve'atzilus is not the kav itself anymore. Meir mahus haziv. It's now in Atzilus, it's the ziv of the kav. It's not the or of the kav in relation to itself. It's the external aspect of the light of the kav, which is the ziv. The way it is in relation to a receipt to the outside, so that's, but still, which means, but yet, which it's still, it's an external aspect of Or Ein Sof, yes, but it's still, in Atzilus, what the spheres are one with is with Mahus Haziv. It's not the Metzius of the Ziv, it's Mahus Haziv, which means that in Atzilus, even though it is only the aspect of the Or HaKav that is relating to the outside, nevertheless, it is that light itself. It's that Ziv itself. It's Mahus Haziv. So in Atzilus, the spheres are still one with Or HaKav, with Or Ein Sof. Yes, it's the external aspect of Or Ein Sof, but still it's one with Or Ein Sof. Aval bebiyah, but in biyah, in Bria, Yetzira, Asiya, under Atzilus, lower than Atzilus, the created worlds, Eino Meir B'chinas Maus. Even the Ziv, even the external aspect of Or HaKav doesn't shine anymore in itself, Mahus, in a way that itself is revealed. Ki im b'chinas mitzius levad. it's still there. It's still in the awareness of the created worlds, but only now in a manner of Metzius. That the created worlds, when they are aware of the Kav, they are only aware of its Metzius, its existence, but not its Mahus. They don't experience it itself, its nature itself. כמאמר הז"ל על פסוק, כי לא יראני ירני האדם וחי. When Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to see God, Hashem said, לא יראני האדם וחי. Men cannot see me and remain alive. דקאי על חיוס הקודש, it relates to the holy animals, ואפילו החיוס הנויסוס אס הכיסא, אינם רואים את הכבוד בבחינת ראיית המהות. That even the holy animals, the source of our world, the chayas of the Merkava, that are carrying the kiseh, the throne on which the prophet saw the image of Adam, that's sitting on the throne, that the animals of the Merkava are carrying, they only see as hakavod, אינם רואים את הכבוד בבחינת ראיית המהות. They don't see the glory of that man that dwells on the throne, on the chair, in a manner of ראיית המהות, of really seeing what it is. כי אם בבחינת ידיעת המציאות לבד. Only the chayos hanos'os es hakise, which means the holy animals, angels of the Merkava, which are the source of our vital energy, of our chayus, only know godliness in a manner of yedias hametzius, knowing that it is, but not yedias hamahus, not knowing what it is. ובעולם משביע גופה הולך ומסמעט האור. And in the olamos biyah themselves, Bria Yitzira and Asiya themselves, the light diminishes and diminishes and diminishes as you go down, עד שבנבראים למטה אינו מאיר בחינס המציאוס דאלוקוס גם כן. All the way to the extent that in the lowest creations, even the existence of God, never mind what godliness is, but even the awareness of existence of God is also not there, not shining, not conscious. דאגם שיש חייס אלוקי בכל נברא, even though in our world there is a divine life force in each and every creature, וכל אחד מרגיש שיש חייס המחיה אותו, and everyone feels that there is an energy that vitalizes him, we feel that we are alive. מכל מקום אינו מרגיש שהחייס הוא אלוקות. Nevertheless, one doesn't feel that that life force is divine. We don't feel that it's godliness. עד שיכול להיות חס ושלום היפוך מאלוקות. Until it can be that we are making a choice that is, and having an awareness which is opposite of, and behavior which is opposite than godliness, of godliness. והיינו, לפי שאינו מרגיש שהחיוס שלו הוא אלוקות. Because one in our world, in our reality, doesn't feel anymore that his own chayos, his own life force, his own vitality is divine, his elokus, his godliness. ובעולמות עליונים שמרגישים שהחיוס הוא אלוקוס, אינם יכולים להיות היפוך חס ושלום האלוקוס. In the higher spiritual worlds, where all the beings in the spiritual worlds are sensing that their vitality, their chayus, their life force is elokus, is godliness. They cannot do anything, and they cannot position themselves in any way opposite of elokus, against elokus. They cannot make such a choice, because for them it's obvious that their vitality, their life force is godly, is godliness. אבל בנבראים למטה, אינו נרגש החיוס של אלוקוס. But in the lower creations, below here, it's not felt and sensed that our life force is godliness. ונמצא, so we find, והאור והחיוס שלמטה הוא בבחינת הערה חיצוניוס לגמרי, עד שאינו נרגש כלל. So what do we find? That the or and the chayos, the light and the energy down here, that must be here in order for us to exist and to be animated and to be alive, is only a ara, totally external, diminished ara from the original car, but it's so external and it's so diminished, שאינו נרגש כלל, it is not sensed at all. והיינו לפי שגם כללוס האור הוא בחינת שערה לבד, because even generally the light itself is only a radiance from the light, שלפי ערך העולמות, that is there according to the value, to the level of the worlds. ובא בבחינת הסלבשוס בעולמות, and it is invested in the worlds in order to create them, each one according to its level, and in order to animate them, each one according to the chayos that they can tolerate and they need. וממילא מסמעט ממדרגה למדרגה. And naturally, if this is the case, this divine radiance is diminishing from level to level, עד שלמטה הוא בחינת שער החיצוניוס ביותר. Until down below, it is the most external radiance from the original אור הקו. אבל בחינת עצמוס אור אינסוף אינו בא בבחינת הסלבשוס בעולמות. However, אור אינסוף itself, the way it relates to itself, is not coming at all in a manner of islabshus, of being invested and revealed in the worlds, כי אם, rather, it is present בבחינת סובב לבד. It is present only in a manner of soivev. It is present. It doesn't mean that it surrounds us and not in us. It's in us not less than the other light. But it is affecting us in a way that we are not conscious of, that we cannot recognize. It's not revealed. Superconscious.